So you'll remember back to step 2 when we were doing all of the cutting and the fitting of those pieces. And once we've got it, all of those pieces fit and cut, we can go on to the foiling. You actually can do the foiling as you go, and in fact that's probably what I will be doing. Instead of waiting to fit all of the pieces, you fit a piece and you foil a piece, and you fit a piece and foil a piece. In this case, that's a very important way to do it. You can do it either way, both work fine, but I'm going to do it the foiling and fitting so I make sure that after the foil is on, it still fits, because the exact fit is very critical for this window. So, what exactly is foiling? What foiling is simply taking and putting this sort of copper foil and sticking all around the edge of your piece and folding it down. Now, there are many kinds of foil. There are different widths of foil, so this is 7/32, but there's ones that are much thinner than this, like this. Doesn't look like it's much thinner, but it actually is. And there are ones that are thicker than this, such as this. And why would you need the different widths? Because sometimes you have glass of different thicknesses. Sometimes you just want a bolder look with a heavier foiling and marks on it. And other times it has to do with something different, and that is the backing on the foil. This is what's called black-backed foil, black-backed copper foil, but they also make foil with with copper colored backing or a brass kind of a look to it, and they make some with silver backing. The reason for the different colors has to do with the way you will finally finish it. I prefer to use the black back whenever I can, because that adhesive on the back of this, that's what this stuff is, seems to stick a little better than the other two kinds. They seem to use a different adhesive on them. So how are we going to put this foil on? Now, the way you hold this, I'm going to be doing this manually. There are various kinds of implements you can try out and use to put the foil on with, that some people find better, but I don't find that's true. So I'm going to just use it manually. And we start by putting it along the edge, and you want to get it exactly centered on the glass, and then you fold that down. Now this is a fairly thick glass, I see, so I might want to change to something later. I'm going to see what this looks like. Oops. The real trick in foiling is to get the glass centered on the foil, so that I look on each side of the glass, and the amount of foil that you can see is equal on the two sides. So to see this a little better, we're going to get a close-up view of just that corner with showing where the foil and where the glass is. All right. Now, we're ready to round the corner here. First of all, I smooth the sides down. Now you see the edges on the glass. So it's primarily sticking to that glass, and this is pretty narrow on this. I'll take a look at this and see when I'm done. And again, I'm carefully looking to fit it exactly in the center. And that's, especially with a glass that's fairly thick for the foil, a little hard to do, but we'll see how we come here. I'm going to go all the way around this glass. Straight pieces like this. Straight cut pieces are much easier foiling than our curved pieces, but it's basically the same process. We'll go all the way around that edge. Now I look at the corner in each case, pull it taut, and try to center that. And it's very critical that you do that centering. And that's the hardest part to get used to when you're first working on this. And then you notice we're now back to the point where the foil started. And so I'm going to overlap them just a little bit. And then, but I would take a scissors and simply cut this off, and that would be my foiling of this piece. And now I have my scissors. So I cut that off. And I'm going to now go ahead and do the corners. Okay, what I just took a break to get was something called a fid. This is really quite a simple thing. It's just a piece of plastic with nice smooth ends on it, kind of tapered ends. But you can actually use a plastic pen to do this with. There's all kinds. You don't need to do anything very fancy. The fid that's made like this is very nice if you're going to do a lot of glass work. And I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm helping right at the moment. I'm just helping it make those corners go down nice and smoothly. But the real purpose of the fid is now if you look at the glass where I have done it, you will see, for example, down here, it doesn't look quite right. And kind of looks sort of bumpy up here. Now part of that has to do with the fact that the glass is a little bumpy. But you see some of that even on the back side where the glass is smooth. So what I will do is I want to make sure that the adhesive is stuck very nicely to the glass, very firmly to the glass. And to do that, I just simply run this fid up and down that glass, smooth it out, and get it firmly attached to that glass. And I do it on the opposite side too, where it's a little bumpy. In fact, it's almost more important to do it on the bumpy side because you won't have to get it so it lays down in between those bumps as well as on the top. And there's my foiled piece of glass. All right, so we have completed the foiling, and just to review a little bit, the process of doing that is to choose your copper foil, and you place that foil onto the glass. It has got copper foil, has an adhesive backing. You place it around each piece of glass, and then you use the fid to smooth that on the glass and to get it to stick very well, and you are ready to go. What we have left is to show you a sense of the whole process of putting those all of those pieces, and I'm going to show you that in the piece that will be the window piece that we've been mentioning. And we'll show you the process of fitting it all going in. It's a little kind of quick summary to see what happens for all of this. All right, so we now have the actual piece that I am doing for one of the residents here at Okemic. It's a window, a transom window, and it has all of the pieces now foiled, so you get a better sense of what it will look like. Except one, and I left that intentionally undone so that I can show you another piece. It's very critical that we get the size right on this piece because it has to fit inside a window frame. So this is the last piece, and I'm going to put it in here. And what I'm looking for when I fit these is just a little tiny bit of wiggle. The reason that we need that little bit of wiggle is that the foil that we put around this piece does have some thickness to it. Not very much, very tiny amount. So you don't need a lot of wiggle, just this little tiny bit. So that when we put the foil around it, all the way around that piece piece will fit nice and tightly, such as these pieces do here. These get a little bit of wiggle and that's okay, but you want those fitting pretty well. All right, now I've put the foil all the way around this final piece here, piece C30. And now we're going to see if we can get this to fit and if it'll be reasonably tight in there. And it fits and it doesn't wiggle much at all. And that's exactly the way you'd like it. It can wiggle a little bit as some of these pieces might do, but you want that to be very little. And when we go on to step 4, where there's soldering, I'll be showing you just why a loose fit, too loose of it, is a real problem. We have, at this point, we have done our designing, we've done our cutting, we've done our foiling, and we've got all the pieces foiled and fit nicely. But it might be nice to have a little review of just how this thing comes together. So that's what we'll show you now. Now that was fun, and I wish things really did go that fast. But unfortunately, it takes a little more time. So how about if we just slow this down and look at it in real time? So we start on one corner, so it's nice and tight to the corners, so that it fits real well. And we'll put them, oh yes, it's going to go nicely, I think. And notice that it's keeping right nicely to what the design shows underneath. That's what you want to happen as you go. Of course, we designed it to fit that way. And this is the magic of seeing it all show up. Hope as you're going here that everything's actually going to work the way it's supposed to. Will it? We shall see. Getting close, looking good so far. And notice we have some glass that's a little bit different. Remember that, some it's a little bit different color, some it's a little bit different kind of glass. To give it a little accents. And are we there yet? We are close. We are getting closer. And the final piece goes in. Ta-da! So, at this point, it looks like it's done, but it's really not quite. You'll notice in the design there are some circles, such as this one, and some small ones that may be hard to see. What those are going to be is what we call jewels. And I will put those in. These give some other nice little accents, and they will be not fitted, but they will sit on top to give it a little three-dimensionality to it. And we've got one that's going to go here. Most of them have pieces of the, oops, this goes here. This goes here. And these, of course, these pieces will be foiled so that they can be soldered to the top, just like that, and that now is really close to the final design. So we finished up the foiling now. and done our fitting, and we're ready to go on to step 4. Step 4 will involve doing the actual soldering of all of these edges of foil together into a solid piece.